that all 4 East Conference series are going at least 6 games. The only other time that ever happened was 2003, which was the first year that the NBA expanded the first round to a best of 7. So let's look at a couple of those. They continue tonight. We got Celtics, Sixers in Philly. We got Knicks, Hawks in Atlanta. I think conventional wisdom, Brian Windhorst, is that the Knicks and Celtics will sort of conclude these and continue on their eventual path headed towards each other as they have seemed on a collision course all along. But if I told you right now, one of these 2 series is going to wind up in a 7th game, which would you guess it was going to be?
Yeah, it's a good question because if you look at the Knicks, they've really taken control of this series, figured out some lineups to play, specifically big lineups, been putting the ball in Karl Towns' hands more, and it's led to good things for their offense. So you think they had the momentum, and you just saw Joel Embiid score 33 points at a command performance in Boston the other night. But the thing is, the Celtics historically are very, very good on the road in the playoffs. Under Joe Mazzulla, they are inexplicably 17-7. They've got a better winning percentage on the road than at home, and especially in Philadelphia. So I think the Celtics hit their threes probably tonight, but I also think that you could make the case that the Knicks have got this series cornered. So I would just say right now this Eastern Conference has been a little unpredictable.
Yeah, it has most certainly been that, Wilbon. How about that thought? What do you expect in the games tonight? What do you expect in Atlanta tonight? What do you expect in Philadelphia tonight?
I expect the Knicks and Celtics to close out, which means it ain't going to happen.
Right.
So the question is which one? Mm-hmm. Which one is more likely? The Maxey, it seems like it's Maxey time. We got this game out of Embiid. Do I expect back-to-back games out of a guy who has the physical challenges that Joel has? No. But Maxey hasn't had one of the. Maxey's capable of going out and getting his 45 tonight, particularly at home. That place is going to be crazy. We were in the Garden. I was in the Garden the other night. Philly's going to be absolutely that crazy, thinking they can force Boston back to a Game 7. Man, the Knicks, every time historically, you go and you expect the Knicks to do something that makes all the sense in the world, they don't. So I'm sitting here talking myself into a Knicks-Atlanta Game 7 in Madison Square Garden Saturday. I believe both the Celtics and Knicks will win, which means one of them's not.
If you're a Knicks fan, then I think tonight's a very important game. Because you want to say that the inconsistencies, the things that drove you crazy at times during the year are truly behind you.
Right.
This season was a Knick. I live here in New York. I'm surrounded by Knick fans every single day. And we talked about it. We joked about it the first day you were here, Shams. To the Knick fans, every day we're either firing the coach or we're winning the championship. And it's been a season of that. They've had 2-week stretches where they looked like they were ready to win the title, and they had 2-week stretches where it looked like we need to break this up and go get Giannis and start all over again. If you're a Knick fan, you'd like to think that's behind us now. We found something. It's playoff time, and we're going to keep steamrolling. I think tonight's a very important game for the Knicks.
This is really the only place where I feel like I'll be. And it'll be a 2-2 series, and people will be asking me who's getting fired, what's happening here, where's this player getting traded. I'm like, it's a 2-2 series, and they have home court advantage. I was actually stunned when people were asking me that. But listen, who I think has a better chance, unless Joel Embiid's Joel Embiid that we saw the last game, I just don't see Boston having the performance that they had last time, having the clunker that they had down the stretch of the game. They usually respond in these moments.
And let's just go big picture in the East here. As we're looking at this, we got all these Game 6s. Windman, just give us sort of a big picture. As I said, it's the first time in 23 years that we've had this. So you got Cleveland will be looking to close out. We've got Orlando going home, looking to close out on the Knicks and Celtics.
Yeah, so a lot of injury situations here. Franz Wagner, this calf injury, Magic losing him is significant. That gives the Pistons some light. The Raptors, by the end of last night, they lost Brandon Ingram in the middle of last night's game. Scotty Barnes tweaked his leg in the middle of the game, and he was ineffective down the stretch. So the Raptors are dealing with significant injury issues. Some of this may be who just gets through healthy, including, even though Embiid will be in the lineup tonight, how does he look? He just had 1 day off. So some of this is just going to be a war of attrition, and that is what we normally see when series go into Game 6 and 7.
All right, we'll have more hoops conversation as we go. I'll mention Michael Wilbon's going to head over and do First Take coming up. It is always such an honor for us to have together. It's the Celtics and what other team?
So This is not the most wins. It's a winning record. The Lakers probably have all the West teams beat. So I think it's another East team that beat them in the. I think the Pistons beat the Lakers in the finals twice, like in the 80s and in 2004 or 5. So I'm going to say Pistons.
I like the way you're thinking. You went the right direction. You guessed the wrong team. It's actually, believe it or not, the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, 10-6 all
Never
time.
would I have gotten that. Never.
You know what the last time they met in the playoffs was? 1974. That's a
Yeah, see, I made the mistake
question.
of getting it right yesterday, and I earned this one today. Yeah.
Get Hembo the hell out of here. That is a terrible question. It's completely unfair. Your dancing today is better than your question asking. I'm disgusted by it, and frankly, your family should be ashamed. Let's continue with a feature we call West Coast Bias. I got Shams in studio today, and I'm taking advantage of it. We got the Warriors. They're one of the great dynasties in NBA history, and we have seen it start to come to an end. We've seen Klay Thompson depart, and now we're waiting on word on Steve Kerr. What up to the minute is the latest on him?
Greeny, so Steve Kerr met with Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy Jr. for 2 hours on Monday to figure out whether he's going to continue after 12 years as head coach of that team. There's no resolution quite yet. The sides will reconvene next week, but two things were made clear in that meeting, sources told me. One, Steve Kerr wants to be back as head coach, and two, the Warriors want him back as head coach. But there are different layers and dynamics to all this, and both sides are trying to look at this best for the Warriors' long-term perspective. What's best interest of that franchise moving forward, and that means basketball decisions around this organization. What's the roster going to look like? What's the staff going to look like? What are the internal dynamics that make sense for both sides to move forward here? It's been a lot, and we know Jimmy Butler's out, Moses Moody's out. This roster has a lot of concerns and issues going into this offseason. So my understanding is Steve Kerr is now on a golf trip. He's going to clear his mind. Sides will reconvene next week.
Okay, outstanding, up to the minute. Winman, jump in here with me on this. How about the Warriors and Kerr and that franchise? They've been one of the really glamorous franchises in all of sports for the last decade or more. And now they've got Steve Kerr sort of with a decision hovering, and Steph Curry obviously still playing unbelievably well, but getting older. What is your sense of the future in Golden State?
Yeah, obviously Kerr is a big factor that's hanging over the team, but their number one issue is dealing with the roster. They were in 10th place for a reason this year. At midseason, they made an aggressive offer for Giannis Antetokounmpo, which included a bunch of draft picks and one of their high salary players, and it sure sounded like it was going to be Draymond Green. So the question that you ask yourself is, what do they do with their roster this summer? Now, Steph Curry came out at the end of the season and said he doesn't view next year as his last year. He wants to play multiple more seasons. He might even talk about having a contract extension. This is not going to be the swan song for Steph next year. So they need to maybe look at something with their roster. They have a big free agent in Kristaps Porzingis. Do they re-sign him? Do they look to sign and trade him? And do they revisit a Giannis Antetokounmpo situation if he comes back on the market? So there may be a lot of big decisions. Steve Kerr's only one.
Yeah, for sure. When it comes to Steve, we were talking about this in our post-show meeting the other day. There have been very few people in the entire history of the game of basketball who've done as much high-level winning as Steve Kerr has. He won 5 championships as a player. He's won 4 NBA championships as a coach and a gold medal as the head coach of the Olympic team. Steve Kerr has had one of the great basketball careers of all time. But the future of the Warriors is really the interesting part, and Steph is the center of it. I'm fascinated by him bringing up Giannis there. I'm not going to ask you to guess what's going to happen. But the way things ended in Milwaukee, it certainly felt like there was a good chance Giannis was going to be moving forward. Is this one of the places that we'll be keeping a close eye on? The
Warriors, no doubt. There's going to be many teams if Giannis Antetokounmpo, and when the Bucks start engaging this offseason, but Minnesota, Miami, you think about a team like New York, you think about the Golden State Warriors, but there were other offers that the Bucks considered seriously, one being the Miami Heat's offer at the deadline. My understanding was, and I reported on this at the end of the Bucks season, Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, multiple draft picks, swaps, seconds, other young players. That was an offer that the Bucks did take seriously down to the NBA trade deadline on February 5th. No deal happened. But the Warriors have an interesting decision because if you're going to move your draft picks, because you don't really have the players, the high-end players to go make a player-for-player deal, you're going to use your draft picks. You have to find a star player that aligns with the future. You can't just take a swing at maybe an aging type star.
Yeah, Steph at the end here, but as Wendy points out, he doesn't look like he's that close to the end. Listen, the basketball fan in me wants to see Steph back on the big stage one more time. I would love to see him with a team.
I need Shams to report
chance.
on where the golf trip is. That's what I'm fascinated on.
Where's he? Do you know where he's playing?
I believe I don't want to speculate.
Okay.
I don't want to speculate.
All right,
so
you got my number,
I think I know. I think I know. I'll send you a text on the side.
That'll get aggregated. That'll get aggregated. The next thing you know, Shams says that Steve Kerr is in Ireland. Okay, let's finish it up by going back to the playoffs. Winman, you're there in L.A. I think the question is, as we lead into first take here, and I'm sure they'll be all over it all morning long, does it feel to you like the Lakers are in real trouble, in real jeopardy of being the first ever team to blow a 3-0 series lead?
They're in the danger zone because I think Houston has found a style of play that works without Kevin Durant. That said, the Rockets are a flawed team. This is not a team that has demonstrated that it's playing well enough to win 4 straight playoff games. And also, Austin Reeves will be better. He was just 4 of 16. He didn't start the game. J.J. Redick realized that may have been an error. He started him in the second half. I think he starts tomorrow night. I think Austin Reeves can be an X factor in how the rest of this series goes.
I'll remind anyone who's not been paying attention or maybe is just joining us, all the extra rest that existed in this series, so much was made of that before it began. All the extra days and how that would benefit LeBron James at the age of 41. That's all over. Game 5, then 1 day off, then Game 6, and then 1 day off if you need it, and Game 7. And again, as you reported earlier today, there will be no Kevin Durant in Game 6.
Kevin Durant out for Game 6. Luka Doncic out for this series. He'd be out if the Lakers start their next round against Oklahoma City. Then the hope would be at some point in that second round he would start to ramp up. But no KD for Game 6. That young core that we've been talking about all morning, Amen Thompson, Reed Shepard, Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, the youngest starting 5 in NBA playoff history to win a game. That was a confirmed stat. Hembo, I might have outdid Hembo. I gotta
That's a good stat.
Take some credit
and look,
here.
we'll see if they can win 2 more. They will make all kinds of history. First take is getting ready to roll. How much trouble are LeBron and the Lakers in? They're all over it. Should Cleveland go with Deshaun over Shedeur Sanders? They'll talk about all those and so much more. They got a jam-packed